Welcome to Looking Over Strange Terrain. My name is Javier, and this is my first vlog on traveling, or traveling vlog, as I don't know which way you should say it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the content I'm about to present to y'all. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to be making more. We were in Norway for 14 days, so I'm going to try to break it down into 14 separate videos and answers to a lot of questions along the way, like how do we save up for it? Why did we choose Norway? What all do we have to do to prepare for it? And why did you choose to rent a camper van? Those are all good questions to ask, and that's what we intend to answer. But anyway, but this is my first vlog creating this type of content, and I want to ask all the native Norwegians, please forgive me for mispronouncing any names of any people, places, or things. I had a very good time there. A lot of insightful things. I learned about not just about Norway, but also about Europe in contrast to the US. And it answered a lot of questions that I've seen on other content creators create, doing a comparison of whatever country they're from in Europe to the US. And some were true, some are false, but I didn't see everything. But regardless, I had a really good time. My wife and I, we have been planning for this for a few years, and a lot of time and sweat went into saving up for it. But at the end of the day, we made it to Norway for 2 weeks, and we came back a whole lot poorer than we left. Nah, just kidding. We saved up for every contingency. Anyway, if you like my content and you want to continue to see how our adventure went and what everything that we put into it, I answer questions along the way. Like, subscribe, comment, ask all the questions you want to say, blast me for whatever information I failed to put out, and I'm a pretty friendly guy. I'm not here to argue with people, but I also don't want to have to deal with the trolls. But it is what it is. And don't forget, in about 40 days we're going to vote, and don't forget about Pedro. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to the rest of the video for you to watch. And this is day one of Fredriksten Fortress in Halden, Norway. Are you pretty excited?
Super excited.
Yeah?
Been looking forward to this for a couple of years, actually.
It's pretty exhausting, ain't it?
The planning? No. What's exhausting is the day of waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a late flight tonight. Well, later. It's late for us, but probably not for other people. But we're going to fly here to Frankfurt, and then from Frankfurt to Oslo.
Be a good time.
Yeah.
And then we're spending 14 days there.
Yep. 14, not in Oslo, but in Norway.
Yeah, in Norway.
Yeah.
Camper vanning around the country.
Finding places to use the bathroom is going to be exciting.
That always gets interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Once we boarded, our flight would take us to Germany, where we made our connection to Oslo, where the camper was waiting. Then we hit the road to Halden, where we camped out for the night before going to our first planned stop to see the Fredriksten Fortress. that night was spent taking photos of Norway's northern lights.
All right, day one, full day in Norway. We're at Fredriksten Fortress. Which seems to have been here for centuries, for a long time. That's to say. Well, Norwegians and Swedes must be short people. There's the old gal. It's awesome here.
This fortress was constructed in the 17th century. It was named after Frederick III, the King of Denmark and Norway. And the town of Halden was also originally named after him, having been known as Fredrikstad between 1665 and 1928.
Visitors are held responsible for walking in the fortress area. Yeah, that's what I like. One of the cool things about coming to places like this, so when we were in Iceland, we didn't have to pay for many of the places we visited. It was all free. Experience the culture and the history for free. I think that's an idea. But everything costs something, right?
It's always good to get out and explore places like this. And Fredriksten Fortress had many little hiding places where you can discover. As you see, I'm walking up the cobbles here, up to this little slope. When I get to the third archway, we're going to turn in. And this is a breezeway that leads to the embattlements that's on top of the was from the top of this wall, you can observe from a good distance away any invaders as you can see behind me, or right in front of me now, the walls get even taller there. And when we go up to the top there, you'll notice that there were, of the time period, they had weapons that could reach out into the river, which is roughly to the, where you see the red building, just to the south, to the north of that.
This is coming from the one who's scared of the dark.
Currently, we're in the barracks where the soldiers would stay and sleep and eat and congregate. And this is one of many. I'm pretty sure this is 17th century graffiti. But since this place is always open, there's a good chance that the local kids come in and
This was a barracks.
leave a mark on their territory.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I love about,
They wouldn't have a fireplace where they have gunpowder.
I agree with the fireplace already. I was thinking like cooler area.
Yeah. Did you go up in here?
Right. You go first.
You got stalagmites and stalactites.
No, mites grow out of the ground, tights grow out of the sky.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They might grow up. The rope is too tight to come.
Well, the way I remember it, mites are bugs off.
From this position, the early Norwegian soldiers would be able to see over the city of Halden. And it's the, this fortress was set on the most prominent hill in the area. So, and it also provided a measure of cover from invading forces from the east. Right now, we're looking west.
I imagine these are like toilets, old medieval toilets. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's part of it either been jail cells or toilets. I imagine these are. What is it?
It says shelter.
Yeah, that's just a nice way of saying jail cells. Seems like we've seen enough of it. Like everything we've seen so far has been this view.
Yeah, so go in.
Yeah.
See the other view. I just think it's cool they've been preserved in the middle of this town.
Oh, I'm sure some work been. They put some work into keeping it looking good. Norwegians talk about was one of the things culturally, most cultural places are open all the time.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't look through the pamphlet of information, so I was thinking we had a place to get in here. So
No.
I'm assuming it's one of those, if it's one of those that doesn't cost anything that you can go just explore, there's a time suggestion,
Right.
but if you pay to get into that, the time matters.
All right, now it's time for us to wrap it up here and get back to the van, and we still got quite a drive to get to our next destination, but we get to take a ferry ride at least and kick up our feet for a little bit, explore the boat. Sometimes you didn't know. We never knew how much we were going to pay for the ferry. We just showed up to the boat, got on. There's some type of device on the vehicle that tracks our expenditures when it comes to how many ferries we took. And at the end of the trip, it only cost us $30, which would have been roughly about 3,100 Norwegian krone. And but yeah, it was nice. You get on board and there was food and places to sit. And you can get out your vehicle and roam around and enjoy the scenery. And also cut off quite a bit of the drive. I think we saved like 2 hours taking the ferry from where we were at in Holden to where we were going next. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening and watching. I'm looking forward to seeing the comments. I know I've mispronounced a lot of the names on here, and please forgive me of that if you're from Norway. Please like, share, and subscribe, and see you next week when we post the next video.
Well, that's a wrap for this particular video. I'm going to start working on the second video soon. I'm going to try to put it out by next Friday, put a little more effort into it. Program I'm working, the Final Cut, I'm new to it, so I want to be able to fancy it up a little bit. But again, please like, share, and subscribe. I want to continue to produce traveling type content along with some other projects I have in the hopper, and hope to see you next week.